Hello friends, I Pankaj Dumka welcomes you all to this lecture on fluid mechanics. So today we'll be discussing on buoyancy. Before I start discussing this particular topic, you should always know the buoyancy is accredited or is the credit of this particular phenomena is given to Archimedes. So when Archimedes was there in his what we call it bathtub, so he observed an upward force. He observed that something is pushing Archimedes up, that means the water is pushing up. So that was the eureka moment for Archimedes, and hence the development of buoyancy. So the question is, what is buoyancy? So if we start this discussion, so we must say, if you have a body which is either partially or totally submerged in fluid, then that particular body will experience a vertical uplift, vertical force, and that particular force is what we called as buoyancy, and the phenomena is that force is buoyancy force, and the phenomena is buoyancy. So to start with, consider that this is the free surface of fluid and you have an object placed in the fluid. Now what will happen? This object, as this is totally submerged in the fluid, so at each and every point hydrostatic pressure force will be acting on this solid object. And as you all know, at each and every point as this is acting, but this should act normally, otherwise the fluid will become dynamic. So the question is, how this buoyancy is coming into existence. So to understand this, we have to go through the previous knowledge, that how to find out the forces on a curved surface. Now as this is volume, okay, then what we have to do is we have to find out the horizontal component of the resultant hydrostatic pressure force acting on this particular solid body, and at the same time the vertical component. So if you try to find out the horizontal component, let us say you divide this body till in two halves, let us say, okay, and project this onto a horizontal plane. So project this onto a horizontal plane like this, and here also. So what you will be noticing that into the paper also, so what you will be noticing that the net resultant hydrostatic pressure force on this is what is in a horizontal direction is what that is equal to the force acting on the projected area. But the projected area in this particular case, let us say it is eta A horizontal, and you will be able to appreciate this fact that in any horizontal direction this projection will be the same. So eta AH also, again the same thing. But the thing which you should understand here is, as these two areas are equal but they are facing oppositely, so the net force which is acting on these areas will be what? Will be cancelling each other. Hence no resultant hydrostatic pressure force comes whenever a solid body is immersed in a fluid. So resultant the component of resultant hydrostatic pressure force in horizontal direction will be 0. So the thing is, what about vertical direction? Now vertical direction, you all know what we do is we move from the curved surface up to the free surface, and you will be able to see that as the vertical positions are differing by this elevation, by this height, so there is a chance that vertical force will come, and it will come. So how to find out that particular vertical force? So what you do is you consider a fluid element like this of, let us say, area dA. Okay, now this height is, let us say, z1, and this height is z2. Okay, so the force which will coming onto the top will be what? Rho g z1 pressure here times the area, and likewise the force which is coming here at the bottom will be rho g z2 times the area. Now if you look this particular element closely, then this is under the influence of these two pressure forces. Okay, and what is then the difference of these pressure forces? Let us say dF. So that difference is rho g z2 dA, which is upward, then and rho g z1 dA, which is downward, considering upward as positive and downward as negative. So this is rho g z2 minus z1 dA, and this is the force which is acting on this element in the upward direction. Now what is this z2 minus z1? z2 minus z1 is this difference. Let us say this is h. So this h times dA will be what? This will be the volume of this element. Therefore this is dV. Okay, so the net force acting on this particular object which is immersed or submerged in the fluid will be given by the volumetric integration of rho g dV. So if you take this rho g outside, this is nothing but integration over the full volume, which is nothing but the volume. So this is rho g. So this is the force which is acting on this particular body which is submerged in the fluid and acting in the upward direction. This force is what we called as buoyancy force. Now the question comes, what does this means? Now this is what? This is volume of the solid times rho g. But if you look very closely here, what is happening here is this solid is doing what? This solid, if this solid has to move into the fluid, then the volume of the solid, the amount of that particular, the magnitude of that particular volume has to be removed. The equivalent volume of the fluid has to be removed, then only solid can enter into the fluid. So this is what? This is the volume of the solid and ultimately the volume which solid has displaced. That's why this particular V is also called as displaced volume. Okay, so this is the displaced volume of what? Of fluid in which the solid is. Therefore, the buoyancy force is nothing but the weight of the displaced volume, because rho g is what? Rho g is the specific weight, and when multiplied by volume it becomes the weight. So therefore the buoyancy force will be equal in magnitude to what? That will be equal to the magnitude of the weight of the fluid which has been displaced by the solid. So that's why you always say that buoyancy force is the weight of the displaced volume and acting upward. Now this is how it comes. One more thing, if somebody asks you what exactly buoyancy is, so in my opinion, buoyancy is not just the definition that it is the weight of the fluid displaced. No, buoyancy is the phenomena which comes into play due to the difference in the resultant hydrostatic pressure forces in the vertical direction. Remember, buoyancy is the resultant of the vertical component of hydrostatic pressure forces in the vertical resultant of the vertical component of hydrostatic pressure forces, and it is coming into play because of this, and the magnitude of this force will be equal to the weight of the displaced fluid. Remember one thing, that if the object is totally submerged in fluid, then the volume of the fluid, of the volume of the solid will be same as the volume of displaced. If it is not totally, it is partially immersed like this, then this particular volume of solid which is in the fluid will be the volume displaced. Okay, so likewise this is your FB which is coming here, and this is also your FB. Okay, that is the buoyancy force, and having a magnitude of rho GV, this is displaced volume. Okay, so in this lecture I have explained you how buoyancy force come into play, and at the same time what is the magnitude of buoyancy force. And in the next lecture I will be solving few problems with you people to understand how to evaluate the buoyancy force and how to sometimes in some problems buoyancy force is not required, but instead if the object is not totally submerged, then the height up to which that particular object is submerged is required. So in the next lecture we will be solving few problems on buoyancy forces, and then we will be moving on to stability criteria. So in this lecture, till this point, if you liked my video, then please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much. Take care.